What if I told you that the moment your cat climbs into bed with you tonight, it's not random? What if that small, warm body curling up next to yours is actually trying to tell you something most cat owners spent years completely missing? There's one behavior in particular, something your cat does in the dark while you're asleep and completely unaware, that reveals more about how deeply it trusts you than almost anything else it will ever do. We'll get to that, but first, let's talk about everything you've been misreading. We tend to look at a cat sleeping on our chest and think, cute. We smile, we take a photo, we maybe feel a little flattered. But here's the thing, cats are not sentimental by accident. They don't just do things. Every position, every timing, every small movement in the night is part of a language that's been encoded in their biology for thousands of years. The problem is that most of us were never taught to read it. When your cat chooses to sleep with you, it's not simply seeking warmth or comfort in a generic way. It's making a decision, a calculated, instinct-driven decision that involves trust, emotional regulation, vulnerability, and yes, something that looks a lot like love. The beautiful part? Once you understand what's actually happening, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. Point 1. The timing isn't accidental. Have you ever noticed that your cat doesn't always come to bed with you? Some nights it's there before you even pull back the covers. Other nights it's nowhere to be found. Most owners assume it's just a mood thing, a cat being a cat. But here's what's really happening. Cats are crepuscular and highly attuned to emotional atmosphere. Research in animal behavior has shown that domestic cats adjust their proximity to their owners based on the owner's stress levels, body language, and even breathing patterns. Your cat isn't choosing the bed, it's choosing you in a specific state. When you come home tense, distracted, or emotionally loud, your cat often keeps its distance. But on the nights you're calm, physically relaxed, emotionally present, that's when it appears. It's not seeking the mattress, it's seeking the version of you it feels safest with. That's not aloofness, that's a deeply sensitive emotional radar. Point 2. When it leaves in the middle of the night. You wake up at 3 a.m. and your cat is gone. It was there when you fell asleep. Now the space is cold and you feel vaguely abandoned. The common interpretation, my cat really doesn't care about me. The reality is almost the opposite. Cats have a core body temperature slightly higher than humans, and they're exquisitely sensitive to heat. When you enter deep sleep, your body temperature drops slightly and your movement stops. For a cat, a still, cooling body next to them can actually create mild physiological discomfort, not emotional rejection. They're not leaving you, they're thermoregulating. But here's what makes this moment genuinely moving. Many cats don't go far. They reposition to the foot of the bed, to the pillow beside you, to the floor inches from your side. They maintain proximity while solving a biological problem. The bond isn't broken, it's just breathing. If you want to know whether your cat left you or just left that spot, check where it went. If it's still in the same room, still choosing your space, that tells you everything. Point 3. Why it changes position when you move. You shift in your sleep, you roll over, and within seconds your cat has repositioned itself, pressed back against you or adjusted its angle to maintain contact. It seems like a small thing. It's not. What your cat is doing in that moment is something ethologists call contact-seeking adjustment, a behavior primarily associated with animals that have formed a secure attachment bond. It's the same behavior seen in bonded pairs of animals in the wild, the instinct to maintain physical closeness even through disruption, without needing to wake fully or feel threatened by the movement. The fact that your cat doesn't startle and flee when you shift, that it adjusts towards you rather than away, is a direct indicator of how safe it considers you to be. That's not habit, that's deeply trusting operating below the level of consciousness. And honestly, if you've made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person who genuinely pays attention to their cat. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Every week we go this deep into what your cat is actually doing, the behaviors that look ordinary on the surface but mean something far more complex underneath. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, back to something that might change how you see your cat completely.
Point 4. The difference between habit and real bond. Here's something that will make you think. Some cats sleep with their owners purely out of routine, because the bed is warm and familiar and you happen to be in it. And some cats sleep with you because they have formed a genuine, specific attachment to you as a person. How do you tell the difference? Watch what happens when you leave. If you travel for a few days, or even just sleep somewhere else in the house, does your cat sleep in its usual spot out of habit, or does it seek out something of yours? A worn shirt, your side of the bed, your pillow? Studies on cat attachment behavior, including work building on the Ainsworth Strange Situation test adapted for felines, have found that a significant portion of cats display what researchers classify as secure attachment, meaning they use their owner as a base of emotional security, not just a source of resources. If your cat follows you across the house rather than returning to the warm spot alone, the bond is real. Point 5. What its breathing and stillness are really saying. You've probably felt it. Your cat is lying against you, completely still, breathing slowly. And there's something almost hypnotic about it, almost medicinal. Most owners enjoy it without questioning why it happens. Here's why it matters. Cats are predators who are also prey. In the wild, stillness and exposed sleeping, belly up, guard down, only happen in one of two contexts: when an animal is utterly exhausted or when it feels completely safe. In domestic cats, that deeply relaxed breathing, that heavy stillness next to you, is a physiological signal that their nervous system has fully deactivated its threat alert mode. Researchers studying the heart rate and cortisol levels in cats have found measurable decreases when cats are in close contact with their trusted human. Your presence is literally changing their biochemistry, calming it. And the same is true in reverse. Stroking a relaxed, purring cat reduces cortisol in humans. Two nervous systems quieting each other without a word. Point 6. El más impactante. When it wakes you before it leaves. Now, the behavior I mentioned at the beginning, the one most owners never notice, and if they do, they don't understand what they're seeing. Sometimes in the early hours, your cat will stir, and before it gets up and leaves the bed, before it jumps down and goes about its morning, it will pause. It might gently press its head against you. It might knead briefly. It might simply sit for a few seconds and look at you before going. You might half wake, feel the weight shift and fall back asleep. You probably don't think about it. But what your cat is doing in that moment is something that has no clean scientific name, but behavioral researchers have noted it as a form of departure signaling, something primarily observed in animals with high attachment security. It is, in the most precise sense, a goodbye. Your cat is not waking you up on purpose. It's not demanding anything. What it's doing is something closer to acknowledgement, a small, quiet moment of recognition before separation, however brief. It is treating your sleeping body as a presence worth acknowledging. Think about that. An animal built for self-sufficiency, an animal that evolved without needing to explain itself to anyone. And in the dark, before it walks away, it pauses, it touches you, it checks. That's not instinct alone. That's something else. Closing. Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Your cat is not aloof. It's not indifferent. It is speaking, constantly, quietly, in a language built not from words, but from proximity, timing, warmth, and the weight of a small body choosing to be near yours. The next time your cat climbs into bed with you, don't just feel the warmth. Pay attention. Notice when it arrives. Notice where it positions itself. Notice whether it stays through the night or adjusts and returns. Notice the breathing. Notice the pause before it leaves. Because in each of those moments, your cat is doing something remarkable. It is choosing vulnerability. It is choosing you, not because it has to, not because you're the only warmth in the room, but because out of everything in its world, your presence is the one it has decided is worth trusting with its most unguarded self. That's not a small thing. For an animal like a cat, that is everything.